everyone. Welcome to the Hero Podcast. My name is Ryan G from the Netherlands, and my co-host Pete Kirkwood, the Hero Maker, the King Creator. Let's talk about heroes. Pete, kick it off.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Like, I am really excited to do this to discuss heroes and heroism and the benefits it can have, not just for an individual who decides to pursue this course and improve their own life to become a hero, but also for their family, their community, their environment, their business, who wherever it is they're expressing their self heroically will receive a significant benefit, and they'll probably receive a hero's reward as long as they stay true to the heroic principles and stuff. So where did this come from for me? Like, I guess, I've always wanted to be a good person and do the right thing and look up to role models like Goku from Dragon Ball Z, classic hero archetype, like Hercules from the myths, another classic hero archetype, and be that good guy. That's gotten me into a lot of problems in life, but that's not the point. The hero's journey is never easy. And now I've got to a point where I've broken this down in a way that I can help other people unleash the heroes within themselves. And we can dig in and find out what is special about them. Are they Batman or are they Iron Man? Both of those guys have no superpowers. Both of them are really smart. Both of them tackle it in a completely different way. They're both heroes. So who are you? Where is your hero? That's what really drives my passion in my work, is that I'm always working with new and interesting people with interesting traits and heroic qualities. It's really fun. And helping them unleash their powers in their lives to do good. I mean, yeah, it's just, what more could you want from life, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean, Pete. I see what you mean. What really hit me was the unleashing of the inner hero. That really resonated with me because, for me personally, um, I had to deal with the fact that I really wanted to be a good person, a good guy, so to speak, but I had no one to go about it. So I can only rely on, the movies, the stories of the old. Like I said, Hercules is one of my favorite Greek heroes. It's like literally that guy, the one that goes through the trials, the tribulations in both life, love, and conquest. I mean, the 12 Trials, I believe, is a fantastic story on, even though he's like a literal demigod, he still has to go to the struggle because he who struggles is admirable. And that's something that's forgotten in current
Right.
times. Could you speak more about that?
No, you're absolutely right. The journey of the hero and the struggle of the hero, you know, if you were to look at a hero of basketball like Michael Jordan makes a great hero of basketball because he wasn't always fantastic and he got cut from his high school team. Like, that is pain, that is suffering. Like, and we've all been rejected in life and it's not easy for any of us. But when someone tells you that you can't be your dream, I've met other men who were determined to be the best in their sport and in their midlife told you the story about when it went wrong in high school and they gave up. Michael Jordan would have been one of those guys if he wasn't a hero. And he actually put massive amounts of effort in to become the best, which is so inspirational. That inspires all of us to be like, well, shit, if he can do it, maybe I can too. But that hero's journey, that suffering, that struggle, that's so critically important. You're absolutely right.
And this also relates back to my own struggles as a very insecure, very shy, very well physically endowed, but still misunderstood kid. Because here I wanted to be a good guy. Here I wanted to, become a martial artist, become great at school, but I found it so extremely hard to balance. Only to, in my later years, let's say, find the right people because my dad's coaching and his effort into hiring the right people, you know so I'm going on about how, as a hero, it is in your duty to find the right coaches, the right hero makers, so to speak, be it in the business world, be it in your career, be it, for your general mental health, because heroes need a team. It's being a band of
Absolutely.
heroes or a hero guided by a council. Speak on that.
It,
What's your opinion on that?
you're absolutely right, because there are heroes who are more that standalone figure. Um, Hercules is more of a standalone figure in my mind. You could say Superman is quite a standalone figure, although there is the Justice League. So there you go. You see, they have that team for when it gets too big. But even if you look at a real world example, someone like Alexander the Great. Now, if you were conquered by him, he might be a villain, but if you are on his team, he'd be a hero. And a lot of his character was carved by Aristotle, who trained him. I'm pretty sure it was Aristotle. And that created the opportunity for him to be a hero. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm fantastic at helping people and going through all the rest of it. But just like Aristotle, it's not me that makes someone a hero. I give them that opportunity. I help them see how they can do it in their own life in a way that, well, society doesn't teach us to be heroes. Society teaches us to be cogs of a wheel. And most of us end up either being a pretty good cog and helping society work well, or we end up getting spat out and we become a rebel. What often without a cause, not doing or achieving a lot, and kind of just living a bit of a fun life out on the edge of the system, not really doing anything, changing anyone's life, making an impact, definitely not saving the world or anything dramatic like that. So that hero process, it takes a bit more. And the rewards and what you can do are fantastic. I mean, when it comes down to living in the real world, heroes have to deal with the 21st century. This is not dragons and fair maidens and castles, and this is a world of business and economics and social media and all of this kind of stuff. So those heroic traits, I mean, as a business optimizer, you spend a lot of time working with businesses, business people, and you still are coming at it from a very heroic perspective. Otherwise, this is why I'm so happy to do this podcast with you. What do you see in terms of heroism, in terms of a modern day business world, Brian?
Right. So a lot of businesses exist for two reasons. One,
Mm-hmm.
to give a product that can change the lives of the consumers, or a service that can change the community or the world to an extent. And of course, for a profit because they need to feed the families that work for them.
Absolutely.
Those are the rules. It is your business objective, so to speak. Now, if you take it from the company's perspective to all the way to the individual employee, you should look at it from a gamer's perspective, I believe. Because a company is also the same thing as a legion. You have a company of mercenaries. We are here for each other to help each other, gain more momentum, gain better salaries, better this, better that. However, from my own perspective, as a continuously transforming data professional, I've done everything from the data architecture to more the front end things like dashboarding and the data analysis, and it made me realize that it was never just about the data transformation. It was about aiding the higher goal, supporting the higher goal, and even if I wasn't always at, the front lines, I was the medic in the side helping the heroes heal. I was, the information spy, so to speak, helping, the executive, the generals make the best choices fast. And it's in that way I became proud of my career, of my art. I became what is called a true artisan of the craft, which is also something in the modern world that we've kind of forgotten, where you would have the classical blacksmith, where you would have an actual guild. And through
Yes.
that idea, I decided to look for consultancies or see consultancies that, practice what they preach as, to true guilds. Because what is a guild other than gathering, um, what's it called? Quests. And then you as a mercenary go there and you enter a new work environment, a very RPG like, as the hero of that story. And even though it's like a very small snippet of the client's company storyline. It is like an angel descends from above to improve that situation even by 1%. And it's that storyline that made my work just that's much more fun. It's also in the way I started to treat people. Like they need my help. They are frustrated. They are in a helpless situation, either because they don't understand the data or because they're having just a lot of trouble speaking English, just not being able to explain what they need. And if you have the combination of both, you're kind of in a very bad position. And
Mm.
knowing that, I started to realize a hero doesn't sit on a high throne, or doesn't have to sit on a high throne to get perspective. It is also through how he relates to the problem at hand and to the people that have it, is where the true power starts to lie. So those are my
You're
thoughts
you're
on, yeah.
you're absolutely right, Ryan. Like that's important there because you can't be a hero on the throne in the castle. That's not where the dragon needs to be slayed. I mean, maybe your storyline does, but you have to go and slay the dragon. Maybe it is a nice setting like a throne room, but it's not an easy thing to do. And a lot of the times, I think when you are in the trenches, is where your heroes they win respect because they do that from common people. Now, common people is everyone who's not a hero, right? Like you're from regular people might be maybe word common. I think carries a weird connotation, but regular people, and I think that we often miss one of the huge benefits. You just sort of touched on it is fun. And now fun almost seems like not important, right? We're talking about business. We're talking about making money. We're talking about something that might change the world and being a hero. And this is more important than fun. Well, in a way, it's a driving energy because the hero creates a story. Some parts of that story are not going to be fun, but some parts of that story are going to be the hero's reward. And that's going to be awesome. Now, you might set out to be a hero, and that might mean you have 10 years of grueling challenges and training. And it's like that movie montage where you go from being a zero to a hero. You might have to go through that. But we all know the hero gets the girl. The hero gets awarded the kingdom. The hero gets the king's blessing. In modern days, it's the hero who creates the company that becomes a world superstar. Like Elon Musk is like a modern day business hero to many people. His fame and celebrity for wanting to do the right thing have exploded his businesses. And I think that even the romance of the storyline of the hero, when it's hard, it gives you a like a story to inspire yourself. When you're striving to do that and whatever that is in your life, complete that challenge, complete that task, if it wasn't hard, it wouldn't make a good story. And from that hero's perspective, it makes you relish the challenge because you're not trying to just do something, you're being a hero. And you're thinking about it from that perspective. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you're the kind of hero who doesn't realize he is one until later in the story. Who knows what each individual person has? It's a lot of hero archetypes. We'll get into that in another podcast. But I think that you really hammer on, yeah, it's not easy. It is hard, but it's very not just money and girls and fame and success and all these cliche rewards, but actually you have done something hard, so you've got the self-esteem. You have done something good, so you've got that self-esteem, that value in yourself, that belief in yourself. It comes down to like the Stoics, the doing the right things and living a good life. You might not be the most famous and flashiest and richest and surrounded by women hero, but you might be that hero every day where everyone who knows you goes, he's a good man. Why? Well, he always puts others first and he always works hard. And people start listing things about you and you're like, oh, he sounds like a bit of a hero. Doesn't mean you have to be swinging an ego around to match. A lot of the best Stoics of history who did the most heroic things, a lack of ego they had as heroes is almost what makes them stand out, is that they were like, no, it's just my part here to die or to be king or to do whatever it is. It's just my part. I've just got to do it. And they weren't egotistical about anything. I think that's a big part, is just that personal growth that comes from being a hero and going through a hero's journey, because it's always a journey. And if anyone thinks their life's not a journey, well, you missed out on the fact that you're born and you die. It has a beginning and an end. So how are you going to live it? How are you going to make that journey something that you look back on your deathbed and you go, yeah, man, that was cool. I'm proud. That was hard. I was tough when it counted. I was soft when I was needed to be, and I was there when people required it. Like that is something you can look back on your life and you can be thankful. You can be grateful. You can be proud of achieving. What do you think about that, Ryan? Does that resonate with you?
It resonates too much, Pete. It resonates too much. Too much to the point that I realized, oh shit, if only I changed my attitude a bit more towards, let's say, my martial arts struggle, because I really wanted to have, the prestige, but I had to also accept the fact that, especially old school taekwondo, yeah, you don't get the belt that easy. It's almost impossible. They want to see you
Totally.
struggle, and you could have the greatest talents in the world. They all break if you don't fall in love with the hard work. It's the idea of something I learned from Stoa: to set camp in hell and to one day become his king is to find what I call leisure in the pain, in the struggle. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you're looking forward to it. And is that attitude is what makes the honey sweet, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like the funny thing about honey is it has healing properties. So what a lot of agents would do is after it has like small cuts or whatever, pour in a bit of honey, plaster it a bit, and then it would heal. And then you realize even though the honey is sweet, it burns like a hydra sting or acid, but it also heals. And it's with that idea when I started with Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, I knew that I'm not gonna like it. It's going to mentally drain me the first few months. But once I have fallen in love with the struggle and gotten over my stupid ego, I will start to realize it is simply a game that I'm playing, and how I'm relating to the issue at hand, and how I'm relating to my sparring partners, regardless of whether they're bigger than me, faster than me, man, woman, monster. It doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
because it's me who decides what my emotion will ultimately be, what my reaction will ultimately be. And it all comes to how you relate to yourself, as in this case, a martial artist. We have a lot
Mm-hmm.
of martial artist heroes, like let's say Jackie Chan. It's like that hidden master that you see. He's a fun guy, but until the moment comes up, you can clearly see that he's practiced his craft, and he will
Great
do
example.
exactly. Of course, he's more of a counter and defensive fighter, but if he has no other choice, the offense will be just as dangerous. Because
And I
it,
think especially with Jackie Chan, like you look at him, he represents a hero very well, because he's not a fighter, he's a defender. His combat style a lot of the times, especially you'll see in movies and things, and let's be real, it's hyped up and rah rah, that kind of stuff. We all know that. But you'll notice that he does things like he picks up a plate and a chair and he does a lot of blocking in a defensive way. And he's doing tricks and things where he saves the person going over the balcony or sliding down the roof or whatever they're doing. He's very heroic, and he's not the Punisher. He's not like, I'm going to smash the bad guys. He's out to save people. And you look at the complete difference in vibe between someone like the Punisher and someone like Jackie Chan. It's just totally different. There's even other martial artists you could compare it to. A lot of guys who were in it for the glory of the fight, and they go down as fantastic fighters. But no one looks to them as heroes. They might look to them as a role model or an inspiration, but no one says, man, I want to be just like that guy. I want to be as much of an asshole as he was, and as good of a fighter. Everyone's like, I want to be a fighter like him, but I don't really want that attitude too.
that's fantastic because Jackie Chan, in almost all his movies, he would be like this guy indeed that would save even the villain, given the chance, and he
Big time.
would somehow find a way. It's like the Goku and the Vegeta arc, where at some point Vegeta was the legit biggest villain and biggest asshole ever. And even during the course of their friendship, Vegeta has betrayed Goku. And to some twist of fate, Goku still decided to. He's a good friend of mine. Let's help him out. And
Yeah, absolutely. That's the I think that's a really, really cool dynamic as well with Vegeta and Goku, because Goku is such a happy-go-lucky personality that he the darkness of Vegeta really makes him stand out. Like it really highlights his heroic qualities because it creates that contrast. And you see that contrast between being an elitist like Vegeta, because Vegeta's an elitist, but Goku's a hero. Big difference. And I think there's a lot of people out there who confuse the archetype and they focus too much on being the Vegeta and not enough on being the Goku.
huh. So that's an interesting point that could also lead to another episode. But what I started to realize is I like Vegeta a bit more than Goku purely on the basis of we see him working hard. Even though he's an elitist, even though he's like, the pride of the Saiyans, even though he's that guy, that
Mm-hmm.
guy you kind of don't like, but you cannot deny that what we see from the series, that Vegeta is pushing himself to almost killing himself on a daily basis. And that's one of his more admirable qualities. Is like, I don't really like you, but I cannot deny the work you're putting in. And the hard work in and of itself doesn't make you heroic. It's what you do with it. And that's why at some point Vegeta became redeemable through the qualities of family. I mean, the
Agree.
moment he's the more exactly, it's also the hero within the family that becomes important. It's also in my personal world where I want to have a family. I want to see things differently from the perspective of what were the things my father gave me or did for me that made him so heroic? Why did I look up to him back in the day? Why was he such a mythical character? It was because he had a company. He was helping people. He was taking time to understand his customers. He told me stories of the older generations of how my granddad, his father, would travel to Europe, gather people that needed help, specifically for gold, bauxite, aluminum stuff, and wood in this case, and get them the help that they need. And even if it would mean he would get the money later, which is a big risk to take as a business owner, he would get it
Mm-hmm.
regardless because he knew he would get more.
See, I think you make a really good point about the father figure there, because when we're growing up, our first hero is often one of our parents. Often the father, depends, everyone has different living circumstances, yada, yada, yada. But one of the hardest parts growing up as a human is coming to realize that your parents aren't as awesome and as infallible as you think they are. You think that they're excellent in everything. And you find out that, oh, actually, dad's real good at business, but he's terrible at weightlifting or something, whatever it is. And you realize, oh, if I actually need to learn physical stuff, I need to go find that somewhere else. Or if I need to go and learn relationships or business or whatever it is, you realize you need to go and find other mentors and things like that. Which I guess is why you hire an Aristotle for your young Alexander, so he becomes Alexander the Great. Makes sense. Can think of one of those off the top of my head, but we won't get into that on this episode. And the other thing you briefly touched on was the company. Now, I think the really cool thing about a company is when you apply heroic principles to it, it's insane, because you think of a company of men, right? Picture 100, right? I think a standard company is actually 380, but whatever. You got a company of 100 men charging into battle. Damn, 100 dudes, shields, swords, spears. That's a serious force. Now you picture 100 men led by Achilles. Oh, 100 men led by Achilles is going to destroy 100 men. It's probably going to destroy 400 men. But now you think about Achilles. Let's add some other real Thor. Let's put Captain America, let's put Batman, let's put Goku, let's put bloody like Saitama. And now those 10 men leading 100 men will destroy 10,000 men, because as each member of the company raises in their heroism and their heroic status and their ability, the company as a whole improves. And that sounds cool in a war situation, but it also applies in business, because that's something I see you do, is where you start lifting up different parts and different people within a company that creates, well, you've helped me fantastically in business, and I know you've helped a lot of other people. So what do you find injecting a company with heroic spirit does? Like, how do you find that experience in your work, Ryan?
Well, it all started when, so let's start from the inspiration side. It started when I was struggling with academics. I was still trying to find, what should my art become. I thought it was, architecture. And as by sheer happen chance, the people, especially the coach, I keep forgetting his name. He looked at my situation and saw, even though I was applying like extreme efforts, I just didn't get it. So what do you do as a coach when you clearly see, yeah, bro, this is you have impossible and you have improbable, and what we have is both. So through his coaching, I started to realize, wait a minute, I have an extreme analytical power that I need to use somewhere. And through
Mm-hmm.
his coaching, I figured out, okay, it's not going to be easy to find what works for me, but I have to go through the oven. Like creating a
Cool.
pizza, you need to go through, you need to put the ingredients, and the ingredients need to go in the oven. And looking back, it was not fun. It was absolute hell to be confronted with the feeling of being extremely incompetent and still wanting to help people. I wanted to do something with that, and that's how I managed to find uh, a study in business IT management. That's how it's called, where I am the bridge that connects the worlds of business and IT, and of course data, and became an information specialist, also known as a data professional. And that was my storyline that was starting to unfold. Now with the hero spirit of myself, I feel like I'm very altruistic. I have to be, else the money doesn't make sense. It's a two-way street. I have to
Mm-hmm.
give value for a respectable profit, let's say. And it's a profit, of course, so I can feed my family and do more things with it. However, money without that intrinsic value is just pieces of paper. It is a trust that comes with money that I can now
Absolutely.
pay with trust. I have earned, I have contributed to society. That's how I see salaries, by the way. Now, from that idea as well, lifting people up has become one of the main pillars of the way I work, regardless of whether it's just coaching or doing projects or actually doing it, having a full time job. I mean, I am one of the, in this case, I'm one of the newer people, yet my approach to surface oriented jobs, let's say a help desk or whatever, is radically different because it's not just solving the problem, it's how I communicate and introduce an element of ease. It's like, dancing with an experienced partner. A lot of women love that. It's like being taught by an absolute master in the craft that he makes you fall in love with, in
Mm.
this case, being served by someone. I fell in love with teaching theater and English because of Madam Simpson. Is a fantastic English teacher, and I used to hate English with a passion until I met her, until she inspired me to delve in deeper, read a bit more into the historical heroic characters within Shakespearean literature, the misunderstood heroes he wrote about, and such and such and such and such, and read poems like
She was that hero that inspired you to go further and deeper into the subject.
exactly. And it also has to do with a hero needs to have a council. It's a council of mentors, and even if the mentors don't talk to each other, it is up to you as the hero to realize. and be absolutely uh, acknowledging the situation as is. Like, I know I need help with communication, so I sought people that were extremely good at, you know, communication in those aspects, like a Joe
That makes sense.
Nicasio, like an Arasa Pardibasar, like a Vince Kelvin, like a Frank White, and especially you in your case, you helped me realize the power that is innate within the hidden archetypes, so to speak. Now it
Big
makes
time.
more sense. So, seeing how we're already at the half hour mark, how would you like to end this podcast?
Well, I think that's probably a decent point to leave it for now. I think we've sort of talked about what is a hero, and anyone listening can probably see a little bit more heroism every day in society and how it plays out. That's the perspective I really want to give. But next time, I think the thing we want to delve into a bit deeper is what makes a hero. What are the actual parts that make up a hero? Let's look even a little bit closer at what a hero really is. Because if we're going to build one, we'd better be able to break it down so we know what it's made out of first. And then we'll go further and deeper into building heroes as we go along. So, Ryan, that's absolutely fantastic. I've absolutely loved what we've done today.
Awesome.
If you want to wrap it up, brother.
So let's wrap it up. This has been the Heroes Podcast. Find us every day and in every way, creating better men, better businesses, and better world. My name is Ryan G from the Netherlands. My co-host is Pete Kirkwood. This has been the Hero Podcast. Be the best. Fuck the rest. Good night.